welcome back to Hibou Coding Live. Alright, so yesterday we finished up on Federal, and so today, this morning, we are working on North Carolina. So some things to get started there, realizing now that going to need to bring the project up. Alright, let that work for a little bit, and it's time to do a little bit of research, which I'm doing here. So North Carolina is subject to both a withholding, which I have the NC30 documentation pulled up here, and also to a unemployment insurance, which I have a overview of over here. Although this might be more for the employee. But let's try to see if we can't figure out the limits and things like that from it. I think this is more about actually using it. Oh, they have a helpful YouTube page of helpful videos. Well, I'm curious about that. Oh, right, it was a little quiet too, so I'm going to turn the gain up on the microphone. Get that a little more centrally located here. Let me take a look at my levels. All right, they're not so bad. Oh. Employer unemployment information. Yeah.
Documents related to unemployment insurance claims. The first step is for the employer to sign in to the DES website.
Hey, I like this. I wish more states would do this, to be perfectly honest.
When you come to the employer homepage, you need to access Claim Services Employer menu page by clicking on the Unemployment Claims and Applications link. This link will take them to the Employer Claim Services menu. Next, click on View Correspondence. Next, scroll to the bottom of the page and select the Upload Documents button. The Upload Document page will come up.
Well, that's not as useful as I was hoping. Also, it's like truncated off the side of the recording.
Under My Documents. For more instructional videos on how to navigate the new unemployment insurance benefits computer.
New unemployment insurance. Employer unemployment. Oh, there's 3 videos. How to file an appeal. Oh, well, that's pretty bad. That doesn't go over rates or anything. Let's see what this video list has. Don't know if this is older or what. September 20th, 2018 is pretty recent. Doesn't look like that's actually going to be of help. So I guess maybe I take it back a little bit. Important information. Legislation coming in effect in January 1st. Quarterly tax reports. Why is it so hard to find? Specifically, I want the base rates and stuff. Base. Yeah, there we go. Okay, figured out the right words to Google here. Okay, so it did go up a little bit. And the default employer tax is 1%. Okay, tax at the Bloomberg. All right, so let's try this over here, and we can get back into PyCharm and get to work here. So let's clean up our. PyCharm keeps taking off this line. I'm not doing it, but it keeps taking off the line and making it look like there's a get diff there. All right, so let's open that. All right, let's get into doing some refactoring here. All right, so thought of another hypothetical bug for our new rate functionality yesterday. Specifically that I think that since we're limiting by one, we probably want to sort by the date from, so that we get effectively the newest rate, so that if you had several open-ended rates kind of a thing, or even actually closed-ended rates theoretically, that overlapped with a particular payslip, we'd want like the newest one. So maybe we'll take care of that in here, because North Carolina will probably be the first time to use that for a changing thing per year, meaning every year it's gonna need to set that. Okay, so well, I'm gonna set one and then do no update so that the user can maintain their own data. Anyway, all right, North Carolina. Let's see what we got. So we add an allowances, a filing, and additional withholding. Here's a unemployment rate calculation that we'll need to potentially handle. So this is a mechanism, I actually forgot about this when we were doing the rate stuff yesterday, but I mean, I guess we sort of saw it because we did have to refactor the whole like get FUTA rate method to return various different FUTA rates. And one of the interesting things is if you're FUTA type basic, which is the 6%, then you're effectively opting out of doing any lower rate unemployment insurance from your state. That's a option, for example, in Washington State that I believe even still take advantage of as a corporate officer. I don't necessarily have to do the Washington unemployment, and so I pay a bigger federal unemployment tax. But the difference, or the wage cap is so low that it really doesn't make a huge difference. North Carolina has a quite large wage cap actually, so that's something we'll have to take care of. And then the most important thing is this, which is if prior to our rate stuff, this is something that we would have been effectively doubling or making more versions of. So this goes away. Boom, this goes away. And the refactor, I'm going to just comment it out for the time being so that we can see the default rate, etc. in here. And theoretically, that means that we need to take it out of our views too. Also, let's go ahead and do the kind of more normalizing here. So let's make a directory called models and make a directory called views. And we'll put the views up in the views and we'll rename it. And we'll put the model up in the models. And I will add a init file. I'm just wondering, I should actually make sure the test pass on this before we even start. Okay, so okay. And let's get this uncommented and we can run our tests, make sure that everything passes. probably name that better. The more of these you have in a row, the harder it is to tell which one's which. All right, while we get in here, let's go ahead and rename this one rules effectively. And we don't have to do a migration per se for this, namely that we had to do a script to move a bunch of stuff around on the base federal stuff, because the fact that we had 2016 rules and stuff like that we needed to migrate up into the 2018. But now this state was implemented last year, which means it only has 1 year, which means that we just need to map to that 1 year. So let's change our manifest to import the rules, the right sequence. And we could probably just go ahead and make a rates as well and import that. Which we will need to empty. Okay, so let's comment out this because we don't need it. And let's try to, let's see here, payroll views. We don't need the company form one anymore because we're getting rid of the idea that we have per company. Let's go ahead and comment it for the time being. And that contract is fine. And let's take a look at the tests. Oh, we need to. Okay, so let's start the refactor portion of this. So we'll start with the name. So we're going to rename this. We're going to throw a wage on the front. And then we're going to do US dash NC for North Carolina, and we'll do unemployment. And that will be wage, US, NC, imp, I believe. Let me see what the unemployment, well, I guess it's called FUTA. We'll do unimp, it will be fine. Unless somebody can think of a better name in the next couple of minutes. All right, so we are not going to have a condition Python for this unless we want to base this on the contract FUTA basic. So that makes sense. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to come in here and we're going to say that if our contract dot FUTA type equal contract equal contract dot FUTA type basic, and let's go make sure that those make sense. FUTA type basic we already had, and we've got a FUTA type. So that's good, that'll work just fine. So let's come back over and we'll close this, minimize it, but we can't. And obviously we want to say not equal to contract FUTA type basic. All right, so now we're gonna go and grab our year calculation, which is, I can just redo it, equals int of the pay slip dict dot date from first 4. Okay, so then we will stick this right here. And stick this right here. All right, so now we need to get a rate, so we'll just pull that up real fast here. So we'll say rate equals, and here we'll do payslip.dict.get rate, and our code is going to be US NC UNEMP, I think that's fine. US North Carolina unemployment should be fine. Okay, so then we will, here we're going to use our rate dot wage limit year minus wage date. Basic is correct for that, and that's all we really need to do for this. Is our sequencing correct? It is technically. All right. Sequencing for this is correct as well. All right, so then this is going to lose its year. And we're going to call this ER:US-NC unemployment. And this one's going to be US-NC unemp. Oh, ER US-NC unemployment. And we don't want this anymore. So once again, we're probably gonna lean on our FUTA type basic up here. Should be fine, probably. Okay, so we're not going to use this anymore. Instead, we're going to say that we're going to get a rate, and we can get that from the same command we had up here, same line. It's bad copy, actually. Ah, it's all right. And so our rate is going to be our negative rate.rate. And our result is going to be our wage. Actually, is that our naming convention for wage? It's been only a day and I'm already forgetting. We don't have a code for wage, so I'm wondering if I don't put wage in the code for the wages. Wage US FUTA. So I do. All right. Okay. So close that down. Come back over here. So we're gonna do wage US NC unemp. Oh, not the get rate though. Let's copy that. Oops. Categories dot. Oh my gosh. Now what? Wage US NC unemployment. And that bug at least exists in exists in 11, so I'm gonna move on here. Income withholding. All right, so let's go take a look at our rules. I might as well just leave this open for the time being. Oh, it's down here. All right, so let's go find our income withhold. Okay. All right, that looks fine. So the coding for that is going to be basically the same, other than Fed replaced with North Carolina or an NC. So we're going to say comparison tax withholding, income tax withholding was to EE:US NC. Is the sequence right? Well, kind of. Let's do 155. because our state roll should be after 150. Alright, so this is going to be, we're going to take off our year. Why would we be, I'm going to say results just equal to true. I can't think of a reason to opt out of this. Why would somebody opt out of this? Well, we, to the best of my knowledge, have no mechanism to do that yet. All right, so wages, categories, gross, which is following the pattern that we have set up. Schedule pay. So we're going to need to look up a lot of these values for 2018, etc. And we have a algorithm here that we can use. That we can keep using the same algorithm as long as we determine the PST and stuff from earlier. But we're actually trying to make 2018 test pass, so we're okay with leaving this the way that it is, at least for this current year, although I should probably get the year and do like an if around it, just to kind of make it a little closer to what it will eventually look like. All right, so we're going to say if year equal 18, and we'll just indent all this calculation up to here. I'll copy it and do else and paste it in here. Interesting. Okay. All right, so now we need to define a rate. So let's go find a rate from the existing one. I'm realizing that I'm in kind of a weird place already. So we will copy this. Actually, we don't have unemployment? Yeah, we do. All right, here we go. Let's grab this. Do I need to do a data to be able to do no update? I don't do no update very often, obviously. Do a little trick to find out, make sure that that is the attribute I'm thinking it is. So this is going to be US NC unemployment. You know, it didn't do ER or anything here. That's fine. It's probably fine. US NC. All right, the rate for 2018 was 0.6%, I want to say. So we will start this in 2018. $23,500. So let's see if our test pass for the old for the old test for 2018, but with the refactor. Uh-oh. Doesn't look like it. Oh, well, obviously. So the test itself is using that, the get rate, which it probably shouldn't, if I'm going to be honest. Meaning that that's not a great test because it relies on the same piece of information that the module is doing. So I don't like that. All right, let's find the tests. We also don't want to do this anymore either. What do we want to do? Make a rate that's 0.6 to use in the test, maybe? Let's comment that out. All right. Yeah, so this should be hard-coded to 0.6 because that's kind of what we're testing. If we test that it gives, I mean, we could test theoretically that this particular method resolves or gives back the right data, but we would want to do that in its own way and in its own test, because just basically grabbing it back and then using that rate means that your test is fragile because the underlying implementation has more power than it really should. So let's just bring this up. 0.6, which was something that we set on the employer earlier, which we could have also parameterized just to in that full circle. All right, so it looks like we're going to do the same thing here. So we're just going to bring this up and set it equal to 0.6 and comment this out and comment this out. Okay, and the same thing here. Should just copy that entire line. There are a lot of tests. Now this should have been a class constant, now that I'm realizing how many of these there are. That's new. I've seen that one. on the test now. While the tests are going there, let's it's not passing anyway. But it probably won't be for. All right, so now we're hitting problems where our did we define rates? Yep. Alrighty. So we'll need to troubleshoot this a little bit. So 0.6. And we can just lose this first line because everywhere that I used that before will be better. That won't actually solve our problem, but it makes the code a little easier to read. Oh, might have been a little danger. Well, I suppose since it renamed both, it should be okay. Oh no, I see. It's a bit of a problem. Refactor, okay. Alright, so our unemployment was calculated to 0 for our unemployment. Let's go take a look at that, I suppose, before. Well, let me finish all of this cleanup. Should have just deleted it as I went down it. Last one, I think. Okay. All right, so our issue, if we go back to our rules, let's see here. So our issue is in unemployment, specifically that our, oh, well, the codes are different. All right, so these codes are different. So let's do a replace here on NC on imp wages. We'll replace it with wage US NC on imp, I believe. Gotta take a look here though and make sure. Well, I suppose I should just copy that. Yep, okay. And so we'll replace all. Oh, wages. All right, replace all. Okay, so now we need the ER, NC on imp with ER, US, NC, unimp. And last but not least, it's this guy, which we'll replace with EE, US, NC, inc. All right. So now we'll run tests again. If tests pass now, then we're actually in pretty good shape to move on to 2019 specific overrides. But it doesn't pass. Okay, so this is probably testing to make sure, yeah, that the unemployment rate is 0. And that's probably because they opted out of it, but all right, so let's see, which one is this? This is state exempt. Oh, geez, I still left that in there too. How did I miss that one? All right. Don't even need this. That's our own parameter. There's no reason to check to see if it's equal to something else. And we should probably do .get, because of the fact that we technically disabled some of this stuff. Oh, let's do it in mass though. Well, it's only this one that we actually care. All the other ones we want the key to be defined. Cats is a dictionary, so we're basically doing a dictionary lookup, but with a default value of 0. Sun's starting to get up. Almost 8. The sun's almost up. Winter time. Oh man. These tests are pretty fragile. Okay. Let's... Oh. Well, this is where I am. So, wage, U.S. employment, wait, hold on. Why would we expect wages, U.S.? Let's take a look at our categories. We might not have... The base has categories and we didn't recode these or rename. So let's do that. We're going to call this wage US-NC, and then we'll take this out. US-NC. This is going to be ER on US-NC unemployments, and this is going to be ER-NC_unamp, and this is going to be a tax holding US dash NC, income tax withholding US NC, that's what we named it. Okay, so let's take a look at these. What this was 0 though, so what part of this is exempt? Food type basic, so we would expect these to be ultimately zeros or taken out of it. Now would be as good a time as ever to say that I don't think that I technically wrote this particular module. Okay, so let's see, where shall we start? Maybe from the top, since basically all of them fail for some reason or another. Alright, so we're saying in our first test, our taxes bi-weekly. Weekly allowance multiplier. We'll just assume that's correct. Allowance is 2. Create employee. Okay. Obviously, we have a issue. And that USNC unemployment wage US unemployment times our current normal tax seems fine. So let's go and find where we use this in our rules. And this is what we named our rate, right? Yep. 2018-2001. What could be going on here? So obviously our rate is being conflated with something here. Rate. It's not rate. Unequal to here. So 30 seems more likely, actually. So I think the rule is probably right, because we can't have a huge positive, right? So in fact, our test is wrong somehow, so let's go take a look at that. So, are we in the right test? I believe I am. Test biweekly, yep. So let's come down here. So we have our wages, CAT's wage, US NC unemployment, times our rate. This should be .6. Don't think that matters, but I'm going to take it out because I thought that I took them all out. I thought I took all this out. Somehow missed some. Could swap this to negative 0.6 as well, just to make some of those calculations more accurate. Oh, was I maybe on the wrong line? I suppose it could be up here. let's go to the line 111. Actually, yeah, okay. All right, debugging 111. Oh, that's in the payroll sets. Sorry, it's in 133. 133. That makes no sense either. I suppose the lines could have moved around a little bit. So let's assume it's probably in this 120 section here. All right, so we've got CATS ER US NC unemployment is equal to our wages for unemployment multiplied by our thing. That seems pretty accurate. And our wages is equal to our salary. So we shouldn't be able to have such a large number. This makes no sense. North Carolina. This is, for some reason, taking a significantly more time than the federal rules. Don't know if the tests are just worse or what, but we might have to probably comment out all but one test and then move from there. Maybe not. All right. All these are off by factors of like 100. Hmm. 0.6% needs to be divided by 100 here. So we effectively already do that. Through the payroll mechanisms, because when we set a result rate of 0.6, we're implying 0.6%. So it's going to multiply it times that divided by 100. But we weren't necessarily doing that in our code, or our test rather. Still fails, but hopefully for different reasons. Meaning hopefully they're not all off by factors of 100. Okay, well that's better. This likely means that the overflow or underflow isn't happening, right? So let's see here. My guess is that we should have hit a cap, but the cap shouldn't have been round, right? Because the old result cap of 23,500. Let's see if that's still the tested amount. I hope it's not this, because if it's that, then we've got a little bit of an issue. Yeah, because surely it wasn't 7,000 in the data, because I've got the wage basis to be up from. If so, this is kind of a big deal for last year. Let me try to see if I can corroborate. So I'm going off of this guy right here that says that in 2018 the tax base or the wage base was 23,500. Let's just find another source of that information. Oh, it's still the same. Okay, so remember when I said that I didn't make this module? Well, now I'm extra glad that I said that. 23,500. Which means none of these tests are going to accurately do that cap. We're going to have to make their salary bigger. But if they pass, then maybe I'll do that on the 2019 rates or rules. All right, so this isn't great. Well, we have some still fail with external. Okay. Okay, all right, so let's go find these individually. So we've got this particular method. Let's go find it. I don't remember changing that. Let's see here. Unemployment. Okay, so we'd be coming in here with $7,000 or something to that effect. $7,000 of external wages. We have 0 from here. And so we would say, well, how much are we being paid? We might need to get both these up side by side at this point. External weekly. All right, so we get 5,000 a month, and we should have external salary or wages of 7,000. So we would say that our basic 5,000 plus 7,000, and that would be our wage limit, which is like 23,000 less the 7,000. So our remaining would be the 23,000 minus the 7,000, which is far, far above that. So that's what the remaining would be. The remaining wouldn't be less than equal to 0. The remaining wouldn't be less than the basic, because the basic is 5,000. So the result is 5,000, and we get 5,000. So the logic works just fine. So what is going on over here in our tests? So we have a unemployment max wage, which I believe is pound defined to the 23,500. And minus external wages, which is 7,000. Because we're just assuming that it's going to be already near the underflow. So let's give ourselves significantly more external wages on the order of like 20,000. And that should fix that one. And let's go take a look at the second one here. Meaning the code is specifically looking for that interim period where the wage was lower. Okay, so now we're moving on to the next problem, which is this one. Oh, it's the very next one. So we've got, again, external wages. Again, I'm going to guess that we want to get up to 20,000 or so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the prior test was specifically looking for zeros. So maybe we'll just go a really big one, 25,000 or 20, like let's say 30,000. Oh, 30,000. Bad time for more coffee. Oh my god. Alrighty, so well, sure, it's 0 because we went over, so we're not going to have a negative. Did the next one fail for the same reason? Actually, which one? Okay, so we need to set this one down further. Like 10,000. So we can test that interim behavior. Well, that's much better. Sorry, running a ButterFS rebalance in a different on a server somewhere. All right. All right, so it's in the one that I'm in. So I've got a salary. I'm going to come up to 15,000 of wages. So this unemployment shouldn't be 0. It should technically be. Oh well, it would be 0 if their contract type is basic. Yeah, so this should be 0. That's the point of being exempt. All right, how do I do? Balance for M usage. Why is the metadata so high? Oh my god, we passed tests. Alright, so now we get to do 2019 stuff, which will be quite easy, other than the fact that there's that giant withholding table. So that's cool. Alright, so let's get that withholding table up. Alright, so what we're going to do is copy our 2018 and paste it to get our 2019 tests. .08, replace with 2019, replace all. 2017, replace with 2018. We don't have any, presumably because of the fact that last year was the first year. All right, so the unemployment bases are changing. So this is going to go to 1% and 1.0, and this is going to become, just had it up, 24,300. All right, so let's get cracking at the new withholdings. So that is based on a formula or something. I had it in the rule. Let me go find it. Let's get rid of this since tests aren't going to be happening. Also, we need to import the tests. And close that file. All right, so here is our rule. And algorithm derived from percentage method at this, and that's not, where I'm at. So let me see if I can't figure out this PST stuff for head of household and these allowance multipliers. Let me drag this on over. We can play this game together. I saw a provision in there for non-resident alien. Hope that doesn't have to happen at some point. Wait, withhold 5.35%. I'd love to. Supplemental wages already. Really wish I knew what PST was. Also wish I could find the allowance multiplier table easier. Just searching for allowances at this point. Alright, well this is interesting. So I've got this formula, I'll just drag it on a little bit here. Percentage calculations, weekly portion of standard deduction. Head of household, normal, basically everybody else. And this is like a weekly standard deduction, which there's no standard deduction over here. Multiplied by 5.35. Okay, so the rate changes. Oh no, so I'm gonna have to move this up into that if statement earlier, because the rate is hard coded right there. It needs to change. So, and yes, that's a rate that's specific to the calculation, so it's not. It's okay for it to be in here. All right. So for 2019 on, we're going to use point multiply by, so that's 5.35%. 5.535. Let's go to the tests and find this and bubble this up to a new what do we call this? Inc tax negative 0.0535. So we did the divide by 100 already, just because the fact that they have the divide by 100 effectively already in here. And so I'm going to replace 0.05599 with, ready for it? Stop scrolling. No. No. It's too early to do complex string replacements. Alright, so that's an improvement. Alright, so I still have no idea what PST is. It's probably this, oh, what did I just do? It's probably this number right here, though, if I had to guess. Weekly portion of standard deduction. Portion standard deduction, PST. All right, so now that we've found that, we can start filling in some stuff. So let's go back to our rules, and we will scroll up here. And we will say, okay, if we are weekly pay, and we are the head of household, then we get 288.46. And our allowance multiplier is 4808. Perfect. So they kept that the same. And our normal person, non-head of household, we get 192.31. All right, moving on. So now we have an allowance multiplier for bi-weekly, which we do have. And that allowance multiplier is 9615, 9615. All right, so head of household is going to be 576.92. And allowance multiplier is going to be, oh, sorry, the allowance multiplier is not what I was trying to do. 384.62. Okay, so coming down here to semi-monthly. And we have 0417, good, and we have 625. 625 and 416.67 and monthly. 208, perfect, and PST for head of household is 1250.0, and this one's going to be 833.33. All right, so now I need to figure out which of these makes sense for the various tests. So let's go back into our tests for 2019. And all right, so our PST for weekly, scroll back up, it was 168, which tells me that we're probably the head of household. No, wait, what? Oh, hold on. I need to double check these. 288, 192. 5, 6, 384, 62. 625. Just gonna throw those on just for the sake of argument there. And 1250, 833. Okay. All right, so our PST for weekly is presumably not the head of household, so it's probably this one. And then we'll allow that calculation to take effect. Come down and do another weekly, but that's exempt, or external wages or something. Actually, we only looked at the unemployment there. Looks like we're only looking at the unemployment there. All right, bi-weekly, we've got a not head of household again. If we get to the end and we don't have a test for head of household, I'm gonna have to add one. There, we have a head of household for semi-monthly. How could, oh, PST, okay. All right, head of household, semi-monthly. This is going to be a normal monthly. I like that North Carolina doesn't let you pay with any of the other more exotic ones. Like, for example, say quarterly. Don't scroll down there. Hold 0, tax exempt. Oh, it's filing status exempt. Okay, fair enough. We have a weekly. These variables aren't used, so why would we replace them? Probably could have commented out the 2018 test, or at least loading it in the tests module file, the init file. All right, this is gonna fail, and it's gonna fail because we didn't make a rate for 2019. Those passed, but these ones won't. And so, now that we know these still pass, let's go ahead and comment them out. And what we are going to see is that basically all of our amounts are off by some portion, and that portion is going to be the difference between 0.6% and 1%. So in our data, in our rates, we're going to set this to the 20. Potentially we want one per year, and that's okay because they can go away. So we'll just do a no update 2018. Yeah, this is fine. Don't have a problem with that. 2019. And everything's going to be the same except for this is going to change to 1. This is going to change to 2019. And the cap's going to change to... good question. Add that up. Add that up again. 24,300. Did I change that in my... Well, let me slide over there. Yes, I did. All right, so let's see where we're at this point. All right, are we still off by small amounts? Yes. So this would probably indicate a bug in our rates module that I made yesterday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and go into my tests for it. And history other. Okay, so I need to test rate for a more newer, if you will, rate. Okay, so I'm going to have the same code, and I'm not going to have another company, but what I will do is set this to 2019 and make a did we not make any rates in our setup? Indeed, we did not. Okay, so let's get rid of this one. And we will assert false still. We don't really need this anymore though, because the fact that we've tested that methodology once. So we're going to make a test rate for 2018 and a test rate for 2019. 2 and test rate hold straight. So hopefully I'm gonna get the second one here. We actually hope that it won't. Let me see my payslip though. So that's fine. So let me change my... Oh, the payslip is going to be 2019. That's just because the way that we're testing. So, oh, well, that's not going to work. Oh, that was the other one. I was like, how could it have failed so fast? That's fine. We're fixing that. So let's run this again. Okay, so this is exactly good or correct or whatever. This is what we were hoping to find here, because ultimately we got the earlier rate. So what we really need to do is come into our models for payroll here, and where we have our domain here, actually not domain, in our get rate here, we want to limit 1, but we also want to sort equal. Also not something I do very often. And that's going to be date from, and we want to sort that descending to grab the top one. Order? Wait, whoa. Alright, figure that out eventually. Can't think of a reason not to limit it to 1. Oh, not. Stop. Alright, so North Carolina, option R, North Carolina run. Now it's really starting to get sunny. Meanwhile, I just get bluer. Oh, what is it doing? It's running all the tests. Hold on. This makes no sense. Don't know what happened here, but obviously R. Yeah. Alright. So all the, what is running? Hold on. Not this, sorry. Let me close a lot of these actually. Might as well close the last one. So, alright, here's 2019. I thought I commented out the North Carolina stuff here. Yeah, I did. Did I not save this file? Maybe, something like that. Alright. Okay, so let's see here. So some 2019 are passing and some are not. So some of these are just reverses of each other. For a income withholding, it should be negative. So the rule's right, our test is wrong. Let's go find that. So we're going to go to I'm probably gonna just need to make this. No, it is negative. Maybe it shouldn't be, for the purposes of the test. So it was something we were working on, so it's possible. Looking good. All right. Now, technically, I'd probably rather keep this negative and just find the places that it's used. All right, so we will find self.nc tax and replace that with negative. It's getting close. Let's go start cleanup. So I believe our test passed, so let's take a look here. So we've got a completely useless edit here, or white space only, so we'll reset that. Okay, so we've got a refactor file. We have some more refactor. We have a bunch of refactor. You'll note I didn't have to, other than the withholding rule that has important calculations and stuff, I didn't have to change anything, and that's really good. All right, back to PyCharm to uncomment my 2018 one, and probably run it again just to make sure that we get tests passing for both. And in the meantime, we'll go back over to here, and 2018. Got some stuff changed. I'll just let it die though, as far as the refactors that I made for those, calculation stuff in 2019. All right, so I'm getting rid of a bunch of files. Technically, I'm renaming them. Rates is new. Update is fine, great. Let's drag that up. So our rules are actually more compared to these guys. Let's see if it rejoins them. It did not, meaning that these should be a rename and a refactor, but oh well, it doesn't really make any real difference here. So we need to take that out. That's for sure. Commented that out early, and then I was like, let's go make sure test pass. Oh, I did comment out still. Okay, that's good. All right, anything else in here that needs changed? Well, we don't need this anymore. We literally don't use it. All right, that's better. Just down to some pretty basic fields on a contract, which I'm fine adding more fields to a contract. The model can take it. All right. All right. remove more comments. Okay, and it looks like we're, oh look, it suddenly decided to rename these and edit instead of making 2 new files. Okay, so we're good here. So we'll say migrate and to use, oh, and it, never mind. I was going to say it needs to require that rate module, but it doesn't, because it requires the normal US payroll, and that does require the rate already. So I'll say to use payroll.rate instead of company field. And I know that's a relatively long commit message, I don't care. Alright, so we're going to push these two up to GitLab. That's going to start a build on my test. And I'm going to basically go use those right away because I have somebody, that's why we're doing North Carolina. We need to use them. Password and keychain. Alright, so that's going to wrap it for the day. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments, and we'll see you next time.